Welcome back to the Gweilo 60 channel. I'm 175 subscribers away from that elusive 100,000 subscribers that I've been working on for a long time. So before this video even gets started, go over there and hit the subscribe button. Throw me a bone, guys. I need some help here. It's been a long road to hoe and I'm not getting any younger. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. Well, today it's, I think, 6 degrees outside. Yesterday it was between 3 and 6 degrees. So Nanning, China is not always the warmest place in the world type thing. In the summertime she's hotter than a $5 pistol, but in the wintertime she can be as cold as a witch's tit, I tell you. But again, I digress. That's not what this video is about. I was reading a white paper from Xinjiang University about victims and survivors of terrorism, and it's based on an oral representation from victims and witnesses, survivors, victims and witnesses of terrorism attacks in Xinjiang Autonomous Region. Between 1990 and 2016, there were thousands of terrorist attacks on the citizens of that area of China. Not a lot of studies have been done into the victims. Usually it's dealing with the terrorism and why it happened and what they can do to curb it. Well, with terrorism in the United States, we know they go and they bomb those countries and they try to take it, change the political system, and they go in there and it's not a bad place, it's not a good place, but by the time they leave it looks like it's a war-torn war zone type thing, and that's the American way to deal with it. In China, in Xinjiang Autonomous Region, they were dealing with de-radicalization, re-education, incarceration for sure. If you're a terrorist, you're going to frickin' jail. You're lucky they don't frickin' shoot you. But you see, they built. Boy, those guys are loud over there. It must be a school. They built infrastructure. They built roads. They built ways for the people to make money. They built educational institutions so they could educate the people. There's one attack in 2012 where 9 terrorists, all about the age of 25 years old, uneducated, really no hope for the future, easily radicalized, and they took axes and machetes and they killed 13 people and injured 16 others. And the father of one of these people was one of the people that the father of one of these people that were killed was one of the people that gave an oral representation and how it affected not only him but his family, his son's wife, the local area, the shops, the county, and even the total area of Xinjiang Autonomous Region, where people were living in fear between 1990 and 2016. It doesn't just stop with the victims. Everybody's got to live in that type of atmosphere, and the Chinese government basically figured out a way to stop it dead in its tracks, because after 2016, starting 2017, there has been zero terrorist attacks in Xinjiang Autonomous Region. Okay, but before that there was hundreds, thousands, actually there's multiple thousands of attacks, terrorist attacks in that area. So obviously what the Chinese government is doing in Xinjiang is working. The United States falls down on the side of the terrorists, saying, oh, these poor people, they're being persecuted by the Chinese government. They give a rat's ass about the victims and the survivors and the people that had to live in that type of an atmosphere for decades, actually. And it's, I guess, the American way of well, you see, it's not that they really come down on the side of the terrorists in Xinjiang. What it was is it destabilized an area of China, and that's what the Americans want, is China to be destabilized, because China's a competitor And that's basically the way they are. Actually, this oral history that they did, they had over 60 people, victims, witnesses, survivors type thing of these terrorist attacks. They did over 1 million words of oral history, and they over 90 hours. So they have a record of this now. Rather than just dealing with the causes, rather than just dealing with what they're doing to de-radicalize, they're starting to look at the victims and how it impacts not only the victims but the area of the country that those victims live in. Getting off the topic a little bit, this is one of my favorite areas to do videos in. It's a newer park. It used to be just sort of like a rural area with a lake in it, but now it's got the walking paths. It's got the badminton players. It's got today is a really cold day. Usually on a day like this, it would be packed with people. But today, because it's cold, and yeah, there's no beer in my hand, but on a cold day it's like Sprite and brandy type thing. So you know Gweilo style type. You know me. So getting back to this terrorist thing in Xinjiang Autonomous Region, you can see where the Chinese government has done something about it. What they've done is they've basically stop terrorism in Xinjiang Autonomous Region, and that's a pretty rough area of the world. You're right up against Afghanistan and all of those stands up there. So for them to be able to do that, rather than go in and just bomb the living shit out of everybody like the Americans would do, I think they've done a great job. It's made the lives of the people in that area, whether they're Uygher people or Han people or any other ethnic minority in that area, it doesn't matter. What matters is those people are safer now than they were in the past. And when people feel safe, they can go to school, they can get jobs, they can better their lives, they can do all of the things that a regular society does without looking over their shoulder, without having to worry about a terrorist attack like that one in 2012. They didn't give a shit whether it was women, children, shop owners. They just came in there with their axes and their machetes and just started hacking people up. And that's the type of thing that people do to try to change political minds using terrorism, using violence against citizens, innocent citizens of that area of the world. Just think, if that was happening in the United States, well, I guess it is. That gun violence that you've got there is a form of terrorism, but it's sort of a weird thing because they just do it because they're crazy. Here, they're radicalized, or were radicalized. They're not anymore because China stopped terrorism. How do you stop terrorism in a place like Xinjiang Autonomous Region? Ask the Chinese government. They'll tell you, because they've done it, and they did a really good job of it. Oh, and as I'm walking across this bridge, I'll do a 360 so you can see what I'm looking at. Sure, it's a little bit chilly out today, but you know what? Being a Canadian, this is nothing. A little bit windy, a little bit of brandy, and life ain't so bad here, guys and girls. I'm getting more females watching my channel than I had in the past. I have no idea why, but the demographics has changed a little bit over the last month and a half, which is sort of nice. So when you hear the news, American news, Canadian news, British news, talking about the persecution of the Uyghur people in Xinjiang Autonomous Region, think of the victims. Don't think of the perpetrators. Think of the victims and the impact that it has on their lives, their families' lives, their communities' lives, and all of the people around the country. Actually, the United States has a different tactic. Sure, they do. When one of their colleagues in crime, like the Israelis, decide to slaughter women and children in Palestine, the Americans will back them on that. Why? Because it's the way they are. It's their political policy. It doesn't really matter what happens to citizens. It's their zest for being the big boy on the block, and anything that can help that, doesn't matter what it is. If it's killing children, that's fine. If it's killing women, that's fine. If it's killing old people, that's fine, just so long as they get their way. The Chinese government looks at it differently. They want it stopped, and they'll stop it basically any way they can, and the way they decided to do that is through education. What a concept, eh? And making it so people can take care of their families. What a concept, eh? And that, my friends, is another video from a park here in Nanning City on a cold winter day, a January day. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe, hit the bell, all of those things, but don't forget to subscribe, because I'm like, you know, a little bit away from the 100,000 mark. So help me out, and until next time, peace out. Bye now.